How's it going, Kelvin?
Good. How are you, brother?
Pretty good. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine. How about vice versa?
I can hear you just fine. I
Right
remember the last
on.
time we had some microphone issues with you, but looks like you cleared them up just fine.
I hope so.
What was the problem? Did you ever sort that out?
I just needed to reset the microphone. I got a cheap one, just a
Uh,
cheap $50 Talk Lab.
Audio has been always my killer. I cannot get my audio settings. You'll notice I have the worst sounding videos out there. You listen to the voice. Those other dudes, man, they
I
sit in
like
front of
your.
the
I
same
think
microphone
your.
I do. What's that?
I think your videos sound good.
Oh, really? Because
Yeah.
to me they sound god awful. And keep
No,
in
I like
mind
them.
that
They're
audio is
good.
really hard. I mean, video I think is easier,
Right. Right.
but yeah, I think that I was talking to a producer once. He was producing like some like movies, like independent stuff,
Hmm.
and he said like he liked to have movies presented. Well, one of the basic sets they love is like the parking garage because you can get them really cheap, right? I mean, on the weekends nobody's using them, so you can rent them out like for next to nothing. But he says the audio, you almost always have to dub because it's almost impossible to get anything coming through clean.
Right.
Right. We got some people piling in. I need to check and see if there's quickly here, if I'm having any issues on the Twitter. People might be asking me some questions. 1 second here. Okay, let's see here.
Hey, Rebecca. Welcome.
Okay, it looks like Grambo probably won't be able to join us tonight. I think she's got a lot of company coming over.
All right.
Yeah, I would just throw them out. It's like, eh. So I haven't talked to you in a couple of weeks. How's things going?
Things are going well with me, man. Just staying busy, working a lot.
Yeah,
Got
you
some
got a lot of.
trials coming up here.
Yeah, I was just going to say you've got a lot of excitement coming your way, and Crystal Kaiser hasn't kicked in yet, but it's going to.
Yeah, I have a feeling that she's going to lose at the Supreme Court level.
Really?
Yeah.
See,
Well,
I
I
thought
mean,
that.
here's the
Go ahead.
thing: is that the Supreme Court is kind of divided right now as far as left right. But the only thing that could tip the scales is that I think it's 8 out of 9 are women now. So maybe the women will sympathize with her. I'm not sure.
See, I figure that the Supreme Court. Okay, one way I would look at it is if I'm one of the justices, is saying
Mm-hmm.
that the bar that they have set for her is so high. I'll let her have it, because if she can meet those, I think there's 5 of them. There's 5 prerequisites for her to be able to even have the jury even hear the instructions on this. I call it a safe harbor, um, affirmative defense. But the bar is pretty high,
Yeah,
so
and
I don't think that they're going to be able to meet it anyway.
so Judge Schrader says this pretty often. As he says, I'm smart. I'm a judge. I'm a lawyer, but I will never be as smart or smarter than 12 jurors.
Hmm.
So the way I look at it is give jurors the most possible options and let them figure it out. Let them figure out if her being trafficked or not being trafficked, if it was the proximate causation of her to shoot the guy. I mean, let them choose it.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand one side of the argument in the sense that, um, look, I mean, we have to control things so that the jurors don't hear the wrong information that might, persuade them to go and produce a verdict that's not based on, like the law.
Right,
And the
right.
other one is just tell them everything, let them sort it out. And of course, there's obviously somewhere in between those two
Yep.
is where we want to be.
Yep.
But yeah, now can you give us some updates? What about Ryoko? What was his name? The guy who shot up all those people inside that bar.
Yeah, he was found guilty on all counts.
Did he get sentenced yet?
I don't believe so. I mean, sentencing is almost a moot point because each.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
it's so weird. So murder and child pornography, possession of child pornography are among the two only crimes that, if convicted, there's a mandatory minimum. And for murder, it's life, but you're eligible for parole in 20 years if the judge allows. So the judge gets to decide. And then child pornography, it's a minimum of 3 years. So if you have child porn, it's a minimum of 3 years. But if you rape a child, there is no minimum. Go figure, right? So he will be sentenced at the end of March 28th at 3:00. He'll be sentenced. But yeah, in a case like this, Schrader's not going to give him parole eligibility.
Oh, he's going up against Schroeder.
Yeah.
Schrader.
Yep.
Oh man. Yep. He's toast.
Yeah, he's done. I mean, this is
Well,
on
but
video.
it's the minimum anyway, a mandatory minimum. So now, what about what was the other guy? Jesus Medrano.
I don't. So that guy. I mean, what's public? I can only talk about what's public record on that case. But the public record is showing that he's set for jury trial in July.
Okay.
But remember, he confessed, and it's a pretty, not really a close call by any means.
Now, who's he going up against? Is it Schroeder again?
Yes.
Why do these guys go up against Schroeder?
I mean, you know what? He's substituted, so he's in front of Judge Milisauskas.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes a lot more sense. All right. So I guess we can go ahead and start talking a little bit about what we are here tonight to talk about. You've been hearing the news, right, about Kyle announcing this initiative.
Yes.
What do you think of that?
Oh my God, it's bizarre.
Yeah.
I forgot who it was. Darth Crypto, he posted something that I kind of really agreed with. He's like, you know what? Enough fundraising, right? So Kyle, if it wasn't for fundraising, Kyle would have been in prison. Or I'm sorry, he would have been in jail until his trial. I mean, that's a virtual certainty. If it wasn't for crowdfunding. And I think he probably could have still won with any of the public defenders. That he, if it weren't for the crowdsource funding, but it would have been a little different, right? So I'm glad that people ponied up and helped the innocent kid, stay out of prison and stay conviction free, right? But now that he's out, and he's got money, the kid's net worth is more than mine, right?
And mine.
And yours combined, right? And so I just don't like this asking for money, because you and I both know if he's got a good defamation case, you would be a fool to pay an attorney on an hourly basis. You would be a fool because the hourly rate would be between $400 and $500. You'd have to pay for deposition fees, court reporter fees, filing fees. I mean, it would cost you so much money, and that's why you look for an attorney to share that risk with you. And if he's got good cases, he's going to have lawyers waiting in line to take this on a contingency basis. So they'll get a third of what he takes if he wins or settles,
about 30%,
right?
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, 30%. And so if he's not getting lawyers that are waiting in line, that tells me that maybe he doesn't have as good a deal. And I'm sure you're familiar with the Sullivan case, 1965. So I guess one of the big questions in this case will be, and I'm not a lawyer, but is at the time that these comments were made by some of these dopes, was Kyle a public figure or not? And I think you can be an involuntary public figure, right? So a public figure isn't just the famous person that wants to be in the public eye. It can be for somebody that won the lottery or got ran over by a bus and survived. It can be this accidental public figure thing that courts have ruled. So he wasn't a public figure until obviously the shootings of August 25th. But that's because in Sullivan, what we just saw with Sarah Palin it makes it virtually impossible to sue a
Okay, you're
public
talking
figure.
about a different Sullivan case than I was thinking about. Okay.
Sure. Yeah. So the Sullivan case basically says if you're suing a if you're a public figure, basically the press, anybody has free reign to say whatever they want, unless I think the term is actual malice. So actual malice would be, hey, Johnny, I know that Kyle didn't kill black people. He killed white people, but I'm going to print on my website that he killed black people, just to make them look bad. All right.
Yeah,
Let's do it. And then
propaganda.
publish an out. That could be actual malice because it's clear that I did that just to hurt the kid. But these people their defense is going to be, hey, look, this is what I thought at the time. He's a public figure. It's really difficult to sue for defamation when you are a public figure. So the main question that a judge will have to answer is, was he a public figure at the time that these comments were made?
All right. Well, let me ask you this. And I actually asked, what's his name? Nate, the lawyer. You're familiar with Nate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just posted it on his YouTube video. He's probably going to blow me off like crazy. But I asked him, I said, look, what if you made him a public figure with your lies? Right? Because let's face it, one of the reasons why, and I'm trying to kind of see Kyle's side a little bit here, but I tend to agree with you on pretty much everything you've said. But if I was going to be maybe Kyle's lawyer, I would say, look, the reason why he's a public figure is because of the lies you told about him. What do you think of that?
I mean, that's part of it. I think the fact that it was during these riots of 2020, these social justice riots, it would have been in the news either way. But you're right. If it weren't for those crazy, his mom drove him across the border. I mean, people were even saying that I gave the kid his gun. I mean, that's how stupid these tall tales have gone. And people are even still saying, oh yeah, his mom drove him across the border. He crossed state lines with a gun, as if that really matters. I mean, it doesn't matter. But you're right. The lies that the media said about him shooting black people, about him crossing state lines, it added flame. It added some oxygen to the fire and made it worse for sure.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Nate.
Media.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you guys?
I couldn't.
I'm
I
a
was
little
only
liquored up.
twins.
Yeah, I've had a really, really rough last 2 weeks, but I finally got off a huge amount of projects off my table, and I'm looking pretty good for this next few weeks at least. So, excuse me.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, tell me about it. How are things with you? I know. See, where were we when we last spoke? Well, go ahead.
I'm doing all right. Hoping to get back to work in about a month. I finally got into all the medical things that I had to get into. So that's rolling in the right direction. I'm grateful for all the support that I've received, because I wouldn't be able to get that help if I didn't receive that support.
Mm-hmm. All right. What about job wise? Anything?
I should be going back to work in about a month.
Oh, okay, cool.
Awesome.
And you've got it. You joined on with a new crew?
No. I would be going back to my original job.
Oh, okay, cool. So you worked it out.
Yes. Yep.
Oh, that's great. That's good. That's good
It's
news.
been a long journey, but it's getting worked out.
We have Ripley on too as well. Hey, Ripley.
Maybe
how
you should
doing?
maybe you should wear a fake mustache to work. And
That's right. Change your name.
yeah,
Nathaniel. I'm not Nathan. Never heard of him. I'm Nathaniel Dubois.
I would recommend you don't wear the hoodie that says "Photo Chad."
Yeah.
But that's just
Yeah. There you go. Hey, Ripley, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, I sure can. Good to have you on board.
Great. Good to be on board.
Yep, absolutely. And the reason why I actually decided to do this stream was because of Ripley. He sent me a private message. Sorry, I don't want to divulge too much. It's a private message, but saying some concern about how things were transpiring with the Kyle Rittenhouse deal. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about this. I've been out of the loop for 2 weeks. So I decided this would be a good thing to talk about because it's kind of hot on the press. And I have a lot of opinions on this. I'm not sure I'm really comfortable with what's happening here. So it caught me by surprise because when I was thinking that Kyle was going to start suing people, I thought this would kind of trickle in one at a time. You'd hear Whoopi Goldberg saying, "Oh, Kyle is suing me, right?" Hang on a second, I got it. There we go. All right, Rebecca has joined us. Hey, Rebecca. But at any rate, I was not ready for the project that he's undergoing, this accountability project. And I'll play, like Tucker Carlson's interview with him in a little bit. And I'm going to be interested in hearing your kind of recollections of it because, in my opinion, it doesn't resonate much with me. Okay. Somebody's got their microphone on or something like that. I don't know. I'm getting a little bit of feedback. I don't know. Okay. It's not a problem, but whatever. Okay. Okay, Ripley, how about telling us how you feel?
Well, you've already heard how I feel. I don't get why he's doing it because shouldn't he want to be putting this behind him? Like he went through all of this. You would think that he'd want to just end it all, not continue going through all of this. Just closing that chapter, putting it away, be done with it, not drag it out as long as he could.
Yeah.
Well, I understand that. But see, if I'm Kyle, I'm gonna want to get my turn, right? He won the biggest battle, right? He's innocent of all charges, right? That's done, right? Now, if this kid can make an example out of these idiots in the media and hit them where it hurts, their pocketbook, and get rich, I'm all for that. So, I don't fault the kid for wanting to hold the media accountable because that's the only way you can. You sue them. So it's going to be what's the low hanging fruit? You got to sue people that have lots of money or big insurance policies. LeBron, CNN, some of these media outlets. So I get wanting to put it behind him, but now he gets his victory lap, so to speak, where he can, and a lot of these will likely settle. If I was CNN, I'd probably have my lawyers reaching out to Kyle's lawyers already saying, hey, here's an offer, sign here. We'll give you this much money, $5 million. And then no lawsuit. You can't talk about the settlement just to avoid the bad press. But I believe some of these doofuses and media companies are going to dig their heels in, and they're going to hope they get a liberal judge. And but you don't need all 12 jurors to side with you. It's not a unanimous here. It's a little lower burden as well. So I think you're going to see Kyle win a few of these. I just don't like the idea that he's continuing with the fundraising. He worked out a deal with Fight Back where they each got essentially $1 million. Kyle got $1 million, Fight Back got $1 million minus Ricky Schrader's money. A lot of that went for legal fees and stuff, but Kyle's still sitting on some money. So I don't like the fact that he's fundraising right now. And it just seems ambiguous, where he's saying, we're raising money to hold people accountable. We're going to fund local journalism. Doesn't seem like there's a full plan in place to make me comfortable enough to donate any amount of money right now. And like I said, if he's got a good case, the lawyers will get in line to sue, and he doesn't need money for that. So I'm a little leery about the fundraising issue to his new initiative.
Rebecca, how about you?
I agree with Kevin.
So Rebecca, what do you go by? Rebecca, Becky?
Rebecca.
Rebecca. Okay. Where in the country are you from? Like Midwest, East, West, North?
I'm from Tennessee, but I live in Georgia now. But I actually will be relocating somewhere else.
Oh, you got that twang. I like that accent. That's my favorite.
Thank you.
And you actually converse with Dominic quite a bit.
Yeah, daily.
Yeah, good deal.
Yeah,
And Dominic will probably be popping in here at some point.
yeah. I told him that we were going live. He said okay.
Yeah, he said he'd be by. All right. Hey, Nathan, how about you?
I don't know. I really haven't really thought much into it, but I do hope some people get held accountable. However that process takes place. I just hope the correct people get held accountable.
Yeah,
Because
my
certain
Okay.
people at a celebrity level shouldn't be saying some things that they said, in my opinion.
Yeah, I tell you, here's my issue is that I'm like Kevin. Okay, he's asking me to give money to whom? I mean, look, if I'm going to give money away, I'm going to go give it away to somebody I think truly needs it. A needy person, somebody who says, "Hey, man, I'm glad I got this money because I really needed it." I don't get the impression with Kyle that I'm sending the money to somebody who really needs the money. Like,
Yeah, and then
am
that's just the thing is when when I first saw the Kyle Rittenhouse fund, it was on fightback.us. They used to have a ticker, if you guys can remember early on, where they showed how much was raised. And I was kind of late to the game, so when I went to the Fightback website, it was at like 2 million and something, right? And I'm not a wealthy. I mean, me and my wife work hard, but I'm not a wealthy man by any means. So when I saw it at 2 million, I'm like, all right, maybe this kid doesn't need my money, right? And then it got bigger and bigger. But people at that point knew that their money was growing directly to help this kid stay out of prison. So there was really a motivation there, and you were, it was really an emotional reason to pony up money. But in this case, like you said, Johnny, it's like, well, where's my money going to? It's going to this LLC that's formed in Nevada, that's registered to another state or something like that. And it's like, well, what is this money? Is somebody taking a salary? I mean, is there going to be $100,000 director of this company? Is my money going to pay for him? I mean, there's just so many unknowns right now. And it was, maybe as we hear more, it'll seem like a worthwhile adventure. Maybe people like me and Nate and you, Johnny, can benefit from this. We're local journalists, right? But it seems like me and you, Johnny, we've been talking about Kyle from the beginning. I'm here in Kenosha, right? You've been talking. Why didn't Kyle, go on your show and thank you for your support,
dude? He doesn't even follow me on Twitter.
And he talked about you. I sent you that link, right? Where he's like, yeah I loved watching
to me,
Johnny Walker Dread and this and that. And I'm like, man, go on his show, and I get it. He wants to go on the big, mainstream media shows, but you did a lot for this guy. You Google Kyle Rittenhouse video, a lot of your stuff pops up. Mm-hmm. And, I always wrote articles favorable to him because he was in the right. I mean, but I didn't hear from him. So, I get it. He wants to go on these big, Tucker Carlson and all this stuff. I get it. But I think he's kind of forgetting the small guys that really helped him, right? It's people like me and you that donated 5, 10, 15, 20 bucks that really put him over the edge. I did not donate to him. But people like me, the little guys who donated 5, 10, 20, 15 bucks. So there's that, right? But right now, I don't feel any motivation to donate to this initiative.
I mean, I donated, a significant amount. I mean, not, I'm not nothing that's going to, pop in the eyes, but I donated a significant amount until the whole David Hancock thing came out. And then I looked and said, hey, wait a minute, I'm not sure what's going on here. I'm not going to make accusations, but until I find out, that's it for me. And I think that was the last time I donated. I'm not sure what happened then, but it kind of, it was starting to get a little bit mysterious. And again, it goes back to the point where I made, where is my money going? Because, hey, the last thing I want to do is donate to some lawyer who drives around in a Bentley. And I have a feeling that that's kind of what that's what I'd be doing here. It's like, if you've got a 6-figure, 7-figure salary, and you're begging money from me to go in and do this work for him, then you have no faith whatsoever in that kid's chances. Because I know lawyers, and they will go in full bore if they have a good chance of making money. And if they're begging for other people to bankroll them, that's not too good. And I guess he's setting up a 501c4 for this or whatever. So that money can't go to him if that's the case. I mean,
most he could do would be pay himself a salary.
Yeah, but he's not going to be able to bankroll his lawsuits with that money. I mean, that would pierce the nonprofit bubble if there ever was.
What's his new group called again? The Accountability Project?
The Media Accountability Project. And by the way, Kenosha Cat, you asked a question. We're talking about Kyle's latest lawsuit escapades.
So, Nate, I didn't get a chance to watch. What did you and Kyle talk about on that Twitter? What are they called, those things?
I don't even know, to be honest.
Yeah, those Twitter So, what did you guys talk about there?
All
Can you
I
give
did,
more insight into these?
I caught it about halfway through it. But what specifically I talked about, I just congratulated him on holding people accountable, and saying it was nice to meet him, nice to get to talk to him for the first time.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was quick and short.
Did he offer? Did I just ask this? My mind is going crazy. Did he elaborate more on what this thing is going to be, or not really?
He kind of went back over what he discussed on like Tucker and the other interviews he's been doing.
Gotcha.
He basically just repeats everything on every show.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Accountability.
Yeah, he repeated it over and over.
Yeah. We'll play the Tucker Carlson interview here in a little bit. And I'll be honest, when I watched it, I did see David Pakman's review of it. And I'm not a big fan of David Pakman, but man, he nailed it. This is scripted. He's not comfortable. This looks like a kid pushed up in front of the camera saying, hey, here's what you're going to say, and just say it.
Yeah, he like Rebecca said, he's saying the same thing over and over again, and he needs to start talking like Donald Trump. You know, these polished, we're going to hold the media accountable. He needs to say stuff like, hey, we're going to God, I don't even know what I would say. But
submission.
Yeah, we need to hammer the fake news media. You know, we need to bring the fake news media down to its knees. You got to use language like that instead of saying accountable. I mean, it's just I don't like the words he's using.
And keep in mind, at 19, he doesn't have Trump's self-confidence to get up there and just shoot his mouth off. Trump doesn't care about what the reaction is going to be. But I think Kyle does care a little bit too much. Although maybe he should be caring, right? But the way that he chooses his words indicates to me that he's really worried about saying the wrong thing.
Yeah, and he, obviously when he was on the stand during his trial, he did pretty well, but we're talking lots of prep time, right?
Yeah. We're
talking about lots of mock trials, but now he doesn't have that with him. So he's a little less, he's more scripted. We're going to hold the media accountable. Okay, yeah, you said that. Tell me how you're going to do it. Give us something. Give us a freaking crumb, an appetizer. you know. But yeah, I mean, he's gonna have his pick on who he sues. It's just gonna be a matter of the low hanging fruit. Who said the most defaming things, and his team. Who is his team? Is it him and Hancock? I mean, is there lawyers on this team? Got to have lawyers on the team. PR firm, that would be a good start now that he's got tons of money, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Kenosha Cat says, definitely comes off as scripted. He's only 19. We agree with that. And this all comes out of nowhere for him. So he's trusting the direction of his colleagues. Absolutely. But there's a problem with that. And that is he's not coming off as genuine. And I get it. He's young, but when you don't come off as genuine, you start to get the feeling you're being played by somebody. And who's really writing the scripts here? Well, I can give you some names, but I absolutely agree with you, Kenosha Cat, that he's reading off a script. He's doing the best he can. I get it, but I kind of wonder, does he really look forward to these things? Because if I'm in his position, man, I'd be asking, oh, another interview? Come on. I would not enjoy this at all.
Yep.
You know, I don't know, but we'll play again the Tucker Carlson interview. Maybe this is a good time to do it. But I would like you to look at the viewing audience out there. Look at the discomfort. It just seems to me very palatable. All right, let me see if I can get this go up and running. Okay. All right, let's see if I can get this running here.
Entertainment while we're queuing the video up. Or you guys want some ASMR?
Some what?
ASMR? You never see that on TikTok? You got to watch TikTok. It's funny.
No, I don't. No,
These
I
people
don't.
do this real weird stuff where they're like,
Do you guys see Tucker Carlson?
I see Tucker.
Okay.
There's
You
Tucker.
know what? I better check and see if I have checked off his. Okay, I got to stop the screen here. Because I'm a really big villain on getting a screen going without sharing the sound. Oh, my students hate it.
Oh, funny. We got a troll in the chat.
Got
Kyle
what?
isn't getting a nut, which is exactly what a docile adolescent murderer deserves.
All right. Our first troll.
But
Excellent.
Kyle won't be suing you because you probably don't have enough money.
Enough?
Cyberspace visitor.
None. All right. Let's see here. Now let me try this again. There we go. I did definitely forget to click on that. All right. Can you guys see Tucker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's play it.
So the question is, after a full year of watching these people lie in order to imprison a kid for the rest of his life, who's going to hold the liars accountable? Kyle Rittenhouse, understandably, has thought a lot about this. He needs to explain his plan going forward. Kyle, thanks so much.
It's very, very quiet, Johnny.
I think of many people who've been at.
I'm sorry. What was that? Is it too quiet?
It is pretty quiet.
Wow. Okay. I had troubles with that the last time I did this. I think what you're hearing is it coming through on my microphone?
Yeah, just like last time, remember? It's gonna take
Yeah, and I don't even know how I fixed it. Okay, that sucked.
I don't think you were able to fix it last time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we just rolled with it.
All right. Well, you know what? We're not going to roll with it this time. We're going to just go ahead and talk because that was no good. I don't know what it is, but as I talked to Kevin earlier, sound and me, we just can't get going. I don't know. But I think most of us have watched that. And again, it just really comes off as stiff. But now, did anybody here watch Nate the lawyer's take on this?
I didn't.
Yeah, okay. So you guys are familiar with Nate the lawyer.
I don't think we can hear Kevin.
Oh,
Oh, there I
Kevin, I
am.
think you're muted. There you go.
Yeah, he's the dude, the lawyer that goes with the other cool guys.
Yeah, Nick Rikita. He's always on Nick Rikita's show.
He's the black guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him. He's good.
Oh.
He basically gave Kyle very little chance at all. And I
Oh,
think he
winning?
kind of agree with you.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough because, and another thing is he a murderer? I don't know if that's an objective definition.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the courts will say he's a murderer is the same as I think he's a murderer.
Right. And another thing is you're not going to hear people saying he's a convicted murderer. I mean, that'd be where, okay, that's a lie. But this is where the First Amendment right to free speech is kind of in contrast because, I want to be able to call O.J. Simpson a murderer because I think he murdered those two people, right? Is he convicted of murder? No. You got two competing things here. You got the First Amendment, which is a very strong and important amendment, but then you have the media who just makes shit up is what it comes down to. So making stuff up and giving an opinion obviously are different things. I think saying Kyle is a murderer, which I don't think that, but I think that's probably protected first speech. That's my gut. Just like me saying, O.J. Simpson is a murderer, or anybody else who got away. The dude in the theater, Reeves.
Yeah.
You're gonna have people still say that they think he's a murderer. Having popcorn and a phone thrown at your face, that shouldn't result in a death, right? So is that protected first speech? Probably, but crossing state lines with the gun, that type of stuff. But how do you prove that he didn't cross state lines with a gun?
Well, and also there comes this sort of plausibility that it may have been a lie, but there's a good reason why you thought it was true at the time.
Everyone's saying it, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I can understand why somebody would think it because, again, as I've said many times in my videos, assumptions of what have killed this trial. And that is people just assumed things that explained how we got from point A to point B. All right. So as an example, he is from Illinois. He shows up in Wisconsin with an AR-15 rifle. It's not out of bounds to think that he carried the gun across state lines to do that.
Right.
And I'm not sure that you can hold a person accountable for making a claim that he did when it seemed to be like at the time the most logical explanation. And then there comes another problem, and that is at what point has enough information come out where a person is so super irresponsible in propagating a lie that they should have known was wrong.
So Sarah Palin just lost a defamation suit against, I think it was the New York Times. In the New York Times, V. Sullivan was the 1964 landmark Supreme Court case where the Supreme Court ruled that if you, in a defamation lawsuit against a public figure or person running for public office, not only must the public figure prove the normal elements of defamation, that's publication of a false defamatory statement to a third party, they must also prove that the statement was made with actual malice, which is a legal term, meaning that the defendant either knew, like you said, this would be LeBron or Whoopi, either knew the statement was false or recklessly disregarded whether or not it was true. So that's going to be kind of a tall hurdle for these idiots like LeBron, who's going to say, how was I supposed to know? I didn't know, this is what I read, online, and this is what I've seen on the news. I'm a rich guy. I saw it 10 times when I woke up and scrolled through Facebook that this kid, drove across state lines with a gun.
Did he
How was I
actually
supposed
say
to
that
know?
he was going to sue LeBron?
I think he said he was
mentioned
going to
it.
be receiving a letter too.
Yeah, which that doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. When someone like LeBron, who's got millions of dollars, Alexa, what is LeBron James's net worth?
Millions?
LeBron James is worth an estimated $500 million.
$500 million. So the guy's worth $500 million. Alexa, shut up. He's got $500 million. He's got lawyers on retainer, right? Sending a letter to LeBron James does nothing. Come on. You either sue him or you don't. He's not going to be scared off by a letter. He probably will never read any letters that come to him.
And I'll be honest, he has no case against LeBron.
Yeah, so I mean, so I'm just afraid that, and I don't know this to be true, but I'm afraid that this fundraising effort is just for some more walking around money for Kyle's quote unquote team.
Yeah.
Because if he's got a good case, there will be a lot of lawyers that will gladly share the risk. Because when you're a lawyer and you take a case on contingency, meaning you only collect if you win, they're sharing the risk because they're investing a lot of hours into this, and if they lose, they get nothing. They're not getting paid for their work.
Yeah, by the way, we have a little bit of a note here. I am sure Kyle feels very angry because he's been through hell. I agree. I mean, I understand the motivation. But it's not going to help him at all to do this if it leads to absolutely nothing. And I agree with that. It's going to be a little bit embarrassing, I think, down the road when he can't generate much from this. Now, the only thing saving him is the fact that he's probably going to get a few settlements out of court that will keep everything mum. So his supporters will be able to say, man, he raked in millions. But we don't. Let's say with Nick Sandman. How many of us know actually how much Nick Sandman actually made?
I don't know if he can tell, or I mean, I think if it was a number that could be disclosed, it would have been disclosed. So I think there was a confidentiality. But I mean, Kyle is entitled. I mean, he's going to have a tough time getting a job.
Yeah,
Just living an everyday life.
You know, and Nate, who's a 10th recognizable as Kyle, he's having a hard time being in public. Imagine Kyle.
Yeah.
Half the people are going to want to pick a selfie with him, and then the other half of people are going to want to call him a murderous white supremacist, right? White supremacist. So it's like one of those things, man, where I think he's owed some cash, right? I mean, do the book deal, you make a few million off of that. But I don't know how much money he's going to make off of these lawsuits. I really don't.
I have no problem with the selfies if the person is going to hire me. Right. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's going to be difficult. And by the way, and I've said this before, and I am sure that Kyle's handlers have told him, you see, Johnny Walker Dredd is not your friend. But I've said, lawyer, self-defense lawyer, forget it. He's the last person I would want defending me in a murder trial. Not the fact that he wouldn't be necessarily a great lawyer. He could be the brightest lawyer around. But he's going to be walking up to the jury, and the jury's thinking, oh, this is the dude that got away with murder. Right? I mean, think about how that's going to look. So, and again, he'll change his mind about his future career. Good, because in my opinion, what he's laid out now is really not going to work too well. He still has a lot of options. He's still there's a lot of things he can do, and his notoriety can work with him in some ways. But he needs to sit down with a damned adult for a change, who knows about careers, who knows about this stuff, and listen to him. He's not. He's surrounded by people who are telling him, "Oh yeah, that's great. Oh, you'd be the greatest self-defense lawyer on the planet." That's not what he needs to hear. But okay.
Right.
Rebecca, how about you? You haven't said anything in a little bit. What do you think?
I don't know. There's a lot of things that I could say that I probably shouldn't say. So, because I mean, I do talk to some people, and so I do have opinions, but I don't know if I should even say them. So.
Well, that's why you're here, Rebecca. I mean, come on. Don't
I
hold
just
out
have
on us.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know
Hey,
if I could say it.
That's one thing about it is if you're on the show, we're not going to try to get you to say something you really shouldn't say.
Yeah, it's just
Um,
for like it's. I mean, I don't care for myself to say it, just for people I talk to. So, like, I don't want this to be seen somewhere, and then yeah, it's hard to explain. But
yeah, I get it. I get it. I mean, I've had an opportunity to have a few other people on my show, but I told them, no, it's not probably a good time, right? Because you have to be careful about these kind of things, right? There's a reason why I wear sunglasses. By the way, we have cyberspace visitor here approaching people who aren't doing anything of a criminal nature. I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound like Kenosha. Whilst you're carrying a rifle is provocation, especially during a demonstration. The Wisconsin DOJ has already weighed in on this. They made it unambiguous that the mere carrying of a rifle is not to be considered disorderly conduct, and that is the weakest of all criminal offenses for which you could be considered provocation. Sorry, cyberspace visitor, you're simply wrong. Okay, I dispense with that.
I mean, does he also get nervous when he sees a police officer because they carry guns?
Oh yeah, probably does, but you
But
know,
I mean, inherently, really, and everybody was out there. Technically, it was violating the curfew, and we know now that the curfew was not lawful because the idiots in charge, like our dumb sheriff, didn't do the right. He didn't issue the curfew the proper way. But at that time, we thought it was the law. So anybody out there, including you, Nathan, was technically breaking a local ordinance, right? So to say that they weren't doing anything wrong is just false.
oh wait,
And,
has Binger heard about this? Nathan breaking the law?
Well, actually, you know what I would say is they did not arrest the news media. So Nate was certainly acting as a representative of the news media. So, I mean, he would have had a good defense if he would have gotten a citation. And that's all they did was they gave citations. They didn't charge anybody
$200,
criminally.
right?
Yeah, something like that. But
yeah, I don't know. I think it was the sheriff who said, "Look, we were giving citations to people for curfew violations if they were causing trouble, but there's just too many people there. We can't give a citation to everybody." And so we were very choosy about it. If they were setting stuff on fire, okay. And that makes total sense.
and in all these lawsuits, because I'm going to write an article in the next week or two about. Right now, we have about 5 or 6 lawsuits, federal, that have survived motions to dismiss, right? And in federal court, when you survive a motion to dismiss, you either go into settlement negotiations or you schedule it for a trial, right?
Right.
And they're all saying the same thing. The Black Lives Matter social justice warriors were the only ones ticketed. Well, that's because they were the ones lighting shit on fire and throwing bricks and shooting guns off, right? Whereas the people like Nathan who were taking pictures weren't trying to damage property. So of course he wasn't arrested. He was just taking pictures, or the people that were out there that were just curious or, wanting to see what was going on. They weren't doing anything wrong. So that's why they were not arrested. So of course, yeah, it was just the shitheads that were arrested. And the shitheads were the Black Lives Matter social justice warrior douchebags. I mean, yeah, you're right. It was only the idiots who were arrested. That's usually how things work. If you're reasonable and kind and polite and you follow rules, you usually don't get arrested.
So Anthony Huber's, or I should say John Huber's lawsuit and Gage Grosskreuz's lawsuits, they survived the initial round?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So you
It
have
just
those
goes
two
to show you,
lawsuits.
anybody can be a lawyer.
And see, this is the thing that is kind of I'm conflicted because there are some lawsuits that I think are proper, right? So you have a woman from Madison. Her name is Jenna Miller. She was providing security services for ABC out of Milwaukee, and she had to take a whiz. So she left her post, the videographer and the journalist, and drove to use the bathroom. And on her way back, they stopped her and patted her down and lifted up her bra and took all her shit, her gun, her dash cam, her phone. She still hasn't got that stuff back, right? And they arrested her, and the FBI interrogated her. She's like, listen, I'm working. I am providing security services to journalists. Let me go back. And the police stupidly detained her. She spent the night in jail, and she's suing. And I hope she wins, because those officers were not reasonable, right? And she does the same thing I do. I'm a security contractor, and I, do industrial and corporate jobs when people are fired and they want armed security there, or somebody threatens their work after they get fired, and so they want, I do that stuff. So I sympathize with her, and she was treated poorly. You can't allow these journalists to be out there in front of the courthouse, not arrest them, but then arrest somebody who's providing a legal service to them. And then there's another one. It was a New York Times freelance photographer who, she had her hand on her camera and she was taking pictures, and she got hit with a rubber bullet on her wrist area and like shattered bones. Well, it's the knee-jerk thing. Well, she shouldn't have been there, but she was doing her job. She was taking pictures. I talked to her attorney, and he said he's going to be filing a lawsuit within the next 6 months, and that was about a month ago. Maybe she needs to get paid for her surgeries to her wrist, and you shouldn't just be indiscriminately shooting beanbags. Although I wouldn't be the guy to give like a tear gas gun or beanbag gun to, because I would be just lighting up those Antifa BLM dorks. Just I'd put that thing on full auto and just start beanbagging the shit out of these guys. But they showed restraint. But when you screw up and you hit somebody who's not doing something wrong, you got to pay their medical bills, and you got to pay for some type of pain and suffering. So there are some lawsuits that have merit. But the ones from Gage and Huber's family, and you saw how Huber's family was not well regarded by their son.
Yeah.
So
And-
I mean,
And Hannah Giddings is going to be called up. She has some really nasty things to say about John Huber and I forget his wife's name, but that's going to play a role. He's going to have to put on this. My son, my beloved son, is missing now from my life, and she's going to come and say he was never in your life.
yep.
And I mentioned this early on when I was doing my background of Anthony Huber, is that his father doesn't seem to be around much.
No.
And so this guy comes off to me as Johnny come lately. I'm going to come in here and try to make some money off this deal. I do think that he was very angered by the death of his son. I'm not going to take that away from him. But this somehow, Opie and Andy Taylor walking around going out fishing together, arm in arm, that doesn't seem to hold up really well for him.
Yeah, and Hannah Giddings, I'm not a big fan of her. She sued me, and it was
did she? I
dismissed
didn't know
because
that.
she's an idiot. She's an idiot,
I didn't
and
know
she
that.
hired a stupid attorney. Yeah, but she got herself a little payday too, around $100,000.
Oh,
So she has a little girl, I believe, with some poor son of a bitch who's they separated, but somebody started a fundraiser for her to help take care of her daughter. She didn't even have custody of, I believe, and so GoFundMe took the page down. They took down this chick's Facebook account, but then it went into some trust account from some attorney. So Hannah Giddings had a little payday. What does she need money for? I mean, they're dating for a few months at the most. But they in her lawsuit against me, she put that they were life partners. How do you be life partners with somebody you knew for 2 months?
yeah. Life means like when you were born, he was born at the same time. Right?
Johnny, I've known you for about a year, and I don't even want to take that step yet.
Yeah, let's not go there. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people getting paid. Sometimes the wrong people are getting paid. I don't want to see John Huber get a penny. I don't want to see the estate, or I don't want to see Gage Grosskreutz get a penny.
I'll be pissed if Gage gets money.
Yeah. And so,
Too.
speaking of that, guy, I really don't like Gage. I know there's some people that think he's not so bad, but
I can't.
you know, yeah, he's a bad dude.
Well,
And-
and I have defended him when I felt it was right to do so.
Mhm.
I don't think he's a murderer. I don't think that he's the kind that would have shot Kyle. I've gotten a lot of grief over that. I know that you probably disagree with me, but in my way of looking at him, he would have tried to take Kyle's gun and then let the mob just pummel him to death.
Yeah.
So
You know,
I don't have a lot of respect
Based-
for him.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
and I respectfully do disagree with you, and I'll give you a couple reasons why. First of all, I do believe that Gage really did tell his roommate, my only regret was not emptying the magazine. I really believe he did say that.
Oh, I
And
do too.
they both, of course, lied in court if they did in fact say that. I don't know. I could have seen Gage thinking that he was going to be the big hero and he was going to take down this, active shooter. I think if he would have killed Kyle, he would have had no remorse, and he may have been justified. He would have had a good defense. Look, there's this kid running down the street with an AR-15, and people are saying he just shot people. I killed him. Thought he was heading towards more people to shoot. I thought he was going to shoot the police. That is, if he wouldn't have talked. If he wouldn't have, you just always use your right to remain silent. But Rosenbaum never threatened to kill him if he saw him alone. Well, cyberspace visitor, I'll just call you Karen. We heard I was at the trial every day. There was at least 4 people that said they heard him say that. So I don't know what information you have that refute 4 independent witnesses that didn't know each other, but you're wrong.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, I think this is a good note to everybody. Kevin here probably knows more about the Kenosha shootings than anybody. And so, yeah, if you're going to come in there and say, well, you're wrong, Kevin, keep in mind, this guy has followed this very closely for a long period of time. So have I. The only thing about it is that I'm not sure that his talk with his friend, I forget his name, wasn't nothing but just a bunch of bluster.
Yeah, and I get that. We've all said, I'd love to slap my boss in the face, or fuck that
I'd love
guy.
to shoot those
I could
guys
kill
trying
him.
to raid CVS pharmacy, right?
Right, exactly.
That's the same kind of talk, in my opinion. It's like, yeah,
But
okay.
Gage, when you look at a kid who can slap his own grandma, and you look at a guy who gets caught driving drunk twice, remember, these studies show that for every time somebody gets arrested driving drunk, the chances are they have driven drunk like 300 times. So chances are this guy just drives drunk everywhere he goes without any regard for the life or safety of anybody else. He's not a good dude. He lied, right? He lied on the stand. He's not a good dude. And is he a murderer? Well, no. Is he capable of that? I hope not. But he's also a goofy son of a bitch who, long live the revolution. He's dangerous, and words can be dangerous. Movements can be dangerous. And his little buddies from the TPR, the People's Revolution that were there with tattoos on their face. And I was able to identify them all. But yeah, just losers with really violent criminal histories. Just weird people.
You see, to me, it wouldn't bother me to have Gage win a little bit of money as much as Kimberly Motley winning money. I detest her. Gage, I could, whatever, man. Guy's a loser. But that Kimberly Motley, to me, is absolutely just repugnant.
I have a mutual friend with her. And this friend said, hey, you guys should sit down and talk. Maybe you agree with each other more than you disagree with, which is probably not the case. But, I did talk to her for a little bit during the trial, and she was, I will say she was pleasant. She was nice to me. I don't think there's probably much we agree on, but I'd rather see her make some money than Gage. I mean, I don't want to see Gage make any money out of this. If he had medical bills for his arm being what's the word, vaporized,
Yeah,
then,
vaporized.
you know, maybe I think he got crowdfunded too, didn't he?
I thought he did.
Yeah, I think he made some money, but yeah, I don't want to see him take any taxpayer dollars. That's for sure. And I just really hope that the city and the county stand firm and they don't take any settlements. And here's the problem. Okay, when I was an alderman for the city of Kenosha, there were times when we had to vote either to settle or to go to trial. And here's the problem, right? Sometimes these insurance companies for these governments, whether it be the county of Kenosha or the city of Kenosha or the sheriff's department or the police department, a lot of times they'll say to the city or the county, look, we're going to settle for 500 grand and we'll pay it. But if you want to go to trial, you're on the hook if you lose, right?
Yeah.
So that's a problem that can happen here, where these politicians might just get nervous and say, well, shit, you know, I can tell my constituents, look, the insurance company paid the 500 grand. Our exposure was double, triple, quadruple that. So they might be able to explain that away to their constituents. But in this case, you need to take it to the end. You need to take it to a jury trial to deter other people from suing. You know, when you run around saying, shoot me N-word, and then you chase somebody who's carrying a gun and you get killed, it's not the government's fault. It's your fault. And we're not going to pay people who get killed because they found out, right? So I think the city and the county need to make a stand there and say, look, we're not going to be known as the government agencies that you can sue if you just want to take a quick settlement. And so I hope that the elected officials make a hard stand there.
But like you, I've worked with a lot of city councils in the past, and I know what it's like. And their feeling about it is, it's not my money. I just want this problem to go away.
Exactly.
You know, and it's, yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, if we could get like $10,000 to this person, we don't have to hear about this anymore. Well, we're good.
You know, and also, I would say giving them $10,000 would be a good start.
Yeah, I mean, if for 10,000, I think I'd almost vote for that.
If I was all 17 members of the council, I'd give Gage 10 G's all day, because first of all, his lawyer's going to get a third of that. He'll walk away with 7, and that's a lot less than what the city would pay in legal fees. Because, you know, right now if you read, I wrote an article recently, this autistic kid who they failed him in Gateway College. It's a community college here in Kenosha. And so they got sued. This autistic kid sued the college, and the college's legal fees are already at $125 grand. So lawyers are expensive when you go to federal court. And sometimes the 10 G's or up to 50 grand, 100 grand might be better, you know, cheaper than hiring an attorney. But it's that deterrence factor where you say, look, we're going to take this all away. We're going to spend a little extra money so that the word doesn't get out that we're an easy target.
Yeah. Oh, Lordy. But anyway, getting back onto the Kyle lawsuit deal, what do you think is going to happen, Kevin? Or actually, to all of you, I mean, what do you think is going to come out of this?
I think you might see one lawsuit maybe go to a jury trial, get some media attention. I think there'll be a couple of settlements, and there'll be some settlements you or I or anybody else may never know of. Kyle could have gotten a check already for $5 million, and we would have no idea. Because like I said, if I was CNN, if I was Whoopi Goldberg, I'd probably try to get this figured out before it became public, because their reputation is going to suffer too, whoever gets sued. So Kyle could have millions of dollars right now, for all we know.
Right? I mean, like, I'll give you $500,000. We keep it down. But you know the public is going to say, you know what? He must have failed against Whoopi. We didn't hear anything about that.
Yep.
And she's going to say, she's not going to be able to say anything, right? Because silence works in her favor. And everybody's going to be saying, well, Kyle must not have gotten anything out of Whoopi. We didn't hear anything about that anymore.
Right.
I mean, I see this as being a little bit embarrassing down the road. By the way, who do you think he has the best case against?
I don't really know the specifics. I know that you have LeBron, you have this Turk, the young Turk dude who said some stupid things.
Shank.
But calling him a murderer, even though he was acquitted, I still think that's protected First Amendment speech. I really do. And the First Amendment has to be, it can't waver. And
Well, you're a journalist, right? This affects you,
right? But journalists even have more leeway, right? But
I mean, in terms of your writing about people,
right? Yeah, and making a mistake is you can never lose if you can prove you made a mistake. If I interviewed somebody who says, "Oh yeah, I was there and I saw Kyle driving across the state line and he had a gun," and I report that, and if it turns out that person was lying, it's going to be hard to sue me because I made a mistake. I had somebody give me information that I thought was verifiable, was true. So who's Kara Cooney? Which one is that, Elena?
I'm sorry, who?
Kara Cooney, Elena is saying, is one of the chicks, one of the people who has a good case.
Kara Cooney. Is that George Cooney's daughter, maybe? I don't know. Danner, huh? I grew up with a whole bunch of Danners in California. Okay, so I've made a claim earlier, and that is Wendy Rittenhouse has a better chance.
Oh, that's the chick who wrote that book and put in that he killed 3 black people.
Oh,
National Geographic.
Okay. I'm surprised I don't remember the name. I think I did a video on it. But, okay, let's go now. What about Wendy Rittenhouse? I mean, let's face it. She has had just as many. She's had a lot of really negative, false things said about her.
Yep, that she drove her son across state lines and dropped him off right in the middle of the riot, like that type of.
Yeah,
BS.
like, okay, Sonny, you have a good time there shooting up them BLM activists.
But see, you're gonna have
Right.
to, you're gonna have to find somebody who said that after the facts came out in trial.
Oh, I found one. Remember, I did a video, I think it was about a month ago, where this activist from Chicago, this is right after the actual verdict, she gets up there and talks about Wendy Rittenhouse driving her son to the protests. And this, by the way, is a politician from Chicago. She's like a councilwoman or something like that. And that's why I say sue her, Wendy. And that was my message, sue her, because you're not a celebrity. And this is a case here where I think she really has no excuse for not knowing the facts in this.
And see,
I mean, yeah, I understand how you're going to feel about it, Kevin, but
yeah, and the burden of proof will be on Wendy to prove that this woman knew the truth, but still said. And here's the problem too: is Wendy would probably be considered a public figure. She went on Tucker, right?
Yeah,
she went on some of these, and I'm not criticizing her. She has the right to defend herself and go on TV and say, "Hey, none of this stuff is true." But in doing so, she may have made herself a public figure.
That's true. Yeah. Good
so,
point.
I think Kyle has avenues to make some money to where, he will be made whole, because the kid will never live a normal life. And maybe that's, these people who win the lottery and stuff and get famous overnight, a lot of them, you see what happens to them. Kyle is not just guaranteed to have some kind of perfect life just because he's going to make some money. The kid's got problems, right? And so I think he should be made whole. I think he should get enough money to, so that he doesn't have to work, right? I think his mom should be made whole, his siblings. And I think that'll be achievable with a few settlements and maybe a book deal or a movie or a whatever. That's my thoughts.
And you got to wonder how much of the money is going to go to him.
Right. And I won't be donating to this, whatever it's called, media accountability thing. That's what lawyers are for. That's why you get big settlements and lawyers get attorney's fees. If he's got a case, a winnable case against one of these idiots who said something they knew was false, then these lawyers will do it on a contingency basis. They'll get a third. They'll get rich too, right? But I just don't see the need to fundraise. A new LLC from this David Hancock guy, a new, we need money. It's suspicious. Okay. It's wonky. It doesn't pass the smell test. Right.
Yeah. When your first impression is something's not right, that's not
usually
good.
Yeah. That gut feeling you have, a lot of times it's right.
You heard about my idea for what he should do with his money.
What's that?
Did I tell you about this? My idea was that he would form a 501c3 to provide bail money to anybody that is accused of murder but claims self-defense. Bail money. So in other words, this is a 501c3 that can self-fund because they get the money back. If you're funding legal fees, you're going to have to constantly fundraise to keep because you're going to be expending that out all the time. With bail money, you get the money back.
And that's why
And
Crystal
so why
Kaiser.
not have what's that? I'm sorry.
That's how Crystal Kaiser is out right now. One
absolutely.
such
She had
organization. Yeah.
It was the idea and I think and I think it was the Chicago Community Trust Fund or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And it is a 501c3 set up to bail out Illinois residents. By the way, Kyle didn't get any of it. He's from Illinois. Crystal Kaiser from Wisconsin. She got bailed out on account of it. Go figure.
The NRA has something like that where there's some kind of insurance where if you have to defend yourself, they'll pay for your lawyer fees if you win. Did you ever know that? Yeah. So if you win, they'll pay your lawyer fees back. But if you don't win, you're done. But I mean, if you go to prison, what do the thing is you need the money up front to pay an attorney.
But I thought this would resonate very well because one of the things that Kyle fought for was to be able to get out of jail so that he could help formulate his defense. So you've been accused of murder. You're impoverished. You can't get out of jail. Hey, what a great thing to have a 501c3. You can say, hey, look, we've read your story and we're going to go ahead and bail you out. And you're going to show up for your trial, right? And if he does show up for the trial, you get your money back. So you keep the funds going for your 501c3. But nobody listens to me.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. Just you'd have to make sure you pick winners, right? Don't get burned by picking a loot because they can take the problem like with something like that in like a state like Wisconsin is they take restitution court fees out of there. So if you have a guy who ends up getting convicted and the family puts in a restitution request for $2 million, the judge says, yeah, you can have $2 million. Boom. Every penny goes to
Ouch.
the victim's
I have not
family.
heard that. Is that common?
It depends on the state, but in Wisconsin, when you bail somebody out, you sign a paper that explicitly says this money that you're putting down for Johnny Walker can and will be applied towards court costs, court fines, restitution. So you're basically signing a paper that says don't expect to get any of this back.
That sounds unconstitutional as hell.
And I think the judge has some discretion. because I have seen where a judge will say, you can have this money back, and we're gonna make sure the defendant pays the restitution or whatever. So judges do have some discretion, but at the end of the day, that it's a free game.
Man, that's not bail. That's a ransom.
Yeah, it's not cool.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that really does not sound constitutional at all. But okay.
And it's funny because just in Wisconsin, just as the liberals are trying to get rid of bond, right? Where if you kill somebody, you don't have to post bond, you just go free. Then this scumbag who already tried to run over his girlfriend was given a $1,000 bond from a Milwaukee liberal activist commissioner, and then runs over a bunch of people. So that movement has really lost traction in Wisconsin, which is a good thing. Not that what happened was good, of course, but you have to require bond for violent crimes. But in a situation like this, it should never have been charged to begin with. And
was that a local thing though? Because Kyle certainly didn't get off with $1,000 bond.
No, that was the bond is 100% up to the discretion of the court commissioner or the judge who sets it. They can make it a signature bond for murder, or they can make it $1 million for a misdemeanor. They have great discretion, broad discretion.
Well, you saw one of my videos where I outlined the 3 dudes from Detroit that got away. Well, they were arrested for attempted murder. One of them tried to burn another person up inside his home. The other one stabbed the other guy in the neck, and they got off on $500.
Damn.
Yeah. And one of them never showed up for his court trial. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'd be gone, man.
Well, see, I'm sure you're familiar with this.
Be a fool to show up.
A speedy jury trial demand, right? So you have especially during COVID, all the rules just get thrown out the window, right? Well, it's this pandemic, so we can break all these rules. So you have defendants that have been waiting for trial for sometimes 2-3 years, and some of these liberal judges are releasing them. I'm talking about accused homicides are getting released with no bond because they've been waiting too long for a trial, right? And you really don't have a right to hold somebody indefinitely if you haven't proven them guilty, right? And these are the type of guys that are going to abscond, right? They know that if they go back to court and get found guilty, they're in prison for the rest of their life. So if they can make it to Mexico,
waived their right to a speedy trial, I assume.
Right. So in Wisconsin, you can make a speedy jury trial demand, and it's 90 days is the general rule of thumb. But the constitutional one is up to 3 or 4 years. It's long. It's unreasonably long.
I tell you what, I'm going to give you another little refill. I'll be right back. Go ahead and carry it on. I'll be right back.
So, Rebecca, tell us about how you got involved in this case. What you saw it on TV or what?
Well, yeah, I just saw it. I don't even know how I found out about it, but I found out actually the day before his verdict is when I found out, and then I just got heavily interested in it and was watching all of it all day long, just really interested in it. And then I connected with some people. I connected with Dominic on the day of his his trial when he had his after I had a friend, and he had liked her, followed her, and she texted me and was oh, Dominic just followed me. And then she's I don't really think this is him. And then I was I looked at the account and I saw videos of Kyle's sister Mackenzie on there and stuff like that. This is definitely him. And I had commented on his video and I was is this you? And then he's yes, it's me, the Dominic Black. And I was oh, wow. And then I just ended up getting his Snapchat, and we've talked since. And then Nathan, I have him on Twitter too. He finally followed me back after a while. And then Johnny follows me, and then Grambo follows me, and that's just.
Do I follow you on Twitter?
I don't.
What's your Twitter handle?
It's I'm not even. I can't even look. I'm on my phone. But I'm just like a regular person that just so happened to be able to speak with
Right.
all guys.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay. Yeah, I follow you. Rebecca Vickers.
Okay.
Yep.
There you go. October 16th. What sign is that?
Libra.
Libra.
Crazy thing is, me and Dominic are actually exactly 1 month apart. He's September 16th, 2001. I'm October 16th, 2001.
September.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool how she says it, Nate?
It is.
September? July. The 4th of July. Does that
Right.
sound normal to you? Like when people do fake Southern accents, can you tell?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I don't really hear anybody with big accents, so I don't know.
So Johnny's kind of like down there. Oklahoma. You're muted, but what does your song say? Live from Las Vegas, Oklahoma. But there is no Las Vegas, Oklahoma. Damn it! I was trying to find it. I'm like, where's this guy live?
Good luck. No such place.
Actually, I do know where you live because I sent you a
Yeah,
did I send
right,
you a
you
mug
did.
or what did I send
Hey,
you?
speaking of that mug, where's my mug?
I got yours. Well, you owe me. You didn't respond to a text I sent you earlier, Nate. Dog. No, I'm just kidding. You're a busy guy. You're probably signing autographs on the side of the road. So, Johnny, you coming down this summer or what? Or up?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, the
I'm
other
gonna try
Johnny.
to, yeah, why not? I'll go up there if Rebecca shows up.
Tennessee, that's not too far. Nashville is, I think we made it in 8 hours. Nashville.
Yeah, 8 hours.
Nashville's fun.
It is.
Mhm. Been
You
there.
can make a
I
weekend
almost
trip.
went to Vanderbilt.
You, Nate, we should do a double date down in Nashville one of these days.
That'd
You
be
think the
fun.
people will recognize you there?
No. Maybe.
No.
Well, I think people, the more south you go, the more friendly people are in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
They
It's
are.
pretty good here in Oklahoma, though, too. I mean, I lived in California. Nope.
Ugh.
Mona.
No.
You lived in California, you said?
Yeah, for quite a
Yeah,
while.
California is beautiful, but it's just it's run by tyrants, man.
Mm.
Well, let me put it this way. Parts of it are beautiful, but I lived in like the Central Valley. Dude, man, that's rough. The only place I know more desolate and disgusting is like the Midland Odessa region of Texas. Other than that, it's pretty bad. And the air quality was horrendous. Oh my
Yeah.
God. So yeah, no, I'm glad to be out of there.
Elena, you'll have to. Do you have a microphone and a webcam? You'll have to come on a live chat with us one of these days. She's been pretty cool following us on
Who's Elena?
YouTube. Elena Danner. She's cool.
Oh, okay. I saw her name.
She's a fisherman. She's always catching these big ass
Yeah,
fish.
like I said, I grew up with a whole bunch of Danners.
That's a pretty common name, though, isn't it?
Oh, I don't think so. Is it? You're probably thinking of the Donner Party.
Jeff Goldblum's silent fart finds a way. If that's not a good account name, I don't know what is.
No, I got one better. It's Hugh G Erection. Okay, that's all I'm saying about it.
No, the other
You
one.
guys can go far as you want with it.
This is the best one. I'm going to type it in the chat. This guy on TikTok has it. This is what he made his thing on TikTok. You see? Did you guys read it?
Okay, wait a minute. I'm going to post it. Hang on.
Yeah, that's everywhere. I've seen that many of times.
Uh-oh. She's saying that this is old hat. I mean, come on, Kevin.
You know, I don't even know how to use. She was talking about Snapchat. I don't even know how to use Snapchat. Like I go on there and I see people that I don't know who they are, and I'm like, why? I don't get it. I don't know how to use Snapchat.
It's like TikTok,
I guess I'm too old for that.
Instagram. That's younger people stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
TikTok has a lot of older people on there now, though.
And people don't even like give out their cell phone numbers. Like, hey, what's your Snap? Come on, please. Me and Nate's
Not doing
generation. When me and Nate were picking up girls in high school, we actually had to call them on the phone, and you didn't know who was calling you. It just rang, and you're like, "Oh, who could it be? Hello?" You know, you never knew who it was. You guys got your
Yes.
caller ID and Snap and all that. We had to put in the time when we were hustling ladies back in the 90s and the 2000s, right?
Yeah, and then
Yes.
the phone would ring, and you'd be like, "Okay, is it for me, or do I want to answer this?" You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or come
Yep.
home on dial-up internet on AIM.
Yeah. Yeah. And if somebody calls you, you get booted offline. Oh shit. I was
Good old days.
99% done with that MP3. And then somebody calls you, goodbye.
Yep.
You young people don't know the
struggle.
struggle. Watching a YouTube video, you'd have for a 10-second video, you'd have to download it for all day. And it's like, oh, funny video. Took me all day to watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would start the download, then come back later in the day to see it. Yeah.
It's like with 3D printing. I got a 3D printer, and you start it, and then you come back 12 hours later, and you got this little figurine this big.
Yeah, I know that my students got into this thing. They're like, "Oh, you should check out this 3D printing." I'm like, look, when 2D printing came out, we didn't consider it a big deal. Why would we care about the 3D printing deal? You got a little object, very cute. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just an old fuddy-duddy, but
Yeah. Yeah. So in conclusion, I hope Kyle makes some money suing some of these idiots. I don't trust the donation deal. I'm not going to be donating. If you got extra money that you want to throw his way, I mean, go ahead. I'm not going to be donating to that. He's got a few bucks.
I mean, look,
Just
Dominic Black is still out there needing some help.
Yes, he is.
I'll give my money to him. You know?
yeah.
That's one thing that irritates me so much that I can't even talk about before I get too mad about it, you know?
We should figure out something we can do as a group to get some funds his way.
Yeah.
Maybe when you come up, when you guys come up, we can do some kind of like something, auction something off. I don't know. Auction off a date with Photo Chad.
Hey, we don't want to make him rich. I mean, come on, let's not get too far here.
Did y'all see that? Like Kyle had said in that Twitter thing that me and Nate were both in. Nathan, he said that he is willing to. I mean, he's like okay with people apologizing, and then he wouldn't sue them.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
he did say that. Yes.
See, the problem is apologizing is admitting guilt.
yeah,
So if I said something stupid about somebody that was defamatory, and they said, "Hey, if you just apologize, I won't sue you," I'd want that in writing before I said sorry. You know what I'm saying? Because someone says, "Okay," if Whoopi says, "Okay, Kyle, you're right. I fucked up. Sorry," and Kyle says, "Thank you for admitting it." Okay, lawsuit. Here, you've been served. I mean, man.
yeah. He wants them to say sorry, and then also like say that they won't do anything like that ever again to someone else.
There
Interesting.
would have to be some sort of legal stipulations that by agreeing to this, we're not going to be suing you for it. Or I don't know how that works out. I don't have a whole lot of civil legal I don't have any criminal legal expertise, but at least I know a little bit about criminal law. Civil law, no. I don't know how that works.
Man, defamation is so difficult because you have to prove damages too. So, I'm a private investigator, and so if somebody tells somebody that I'm on the sex offender list and they post it on the internet, right? And then all my clients start dropping me, and none of the lawyers hire me, and now I'm going broke, and I sue them, and I can prove that they knew that wasn't true, and I can show a loss. Look, I was making this much a year. Now I'm making nothing a year, and I could show that's the proximate cause of me not making enough, as much money as I used to. I can win, but that's just so difficult to do. And what are Kyle's damages? His reputation was tarnished, right? But half the world was going to hate him no matter what, right? Half the world defended him. So it's just, they're difficult and they're expensive and they take a long time, and there's depositions, interrogatories, requests for admission. I mean, there's just so much stuff that goes on, and maybe if you get some settlements, those will add up. But
Well, I
it's a
mean,
long road.
but haven't the courts decided some time ago that reputation is valuable in a sense?
Yeah, but you'd have to prove that LeBron and what LeBron said about Kyle, I'm just using him as an example, that's what caused his reputation. But in this case, I think it's the totality of everything that was said, right?
Yeah.
So what does LeBron have? 1/100th of the blame, and Whoopi has one. I mean, there's just so many variables. And I'm not an attorney, but I think it's going to be a hard road ahead.
Right.
I think that'll be
And you're
tough.
part of, like, say, The View. And your audience wants to hear you slam into Kyle. And everybody is, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the word out is Kyle is a no good white supremacist BLM hunting dude. And you kind of go along with that because that's what your audience wants. But that reputation preceded your comments. You were basing your comments on the reputation that was already there. So I don't know how that works.
That show has been on for 25 seasons.
The
I get
View?
nauseous to watch that. Yeah, I get nauseous
my
watching
God.
that thing. Its IMDb rating is 2.4 out of 10.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Wow.
figure out what channel it's on. ABC. So in that case, when you work for ABC and you say something stupid, it's not you personally that has to pay. It's ABC because they let you say the stupid shit, right?
Mm.
So, I mean, it depends on in what forum do they say the things. When they say it on a show that ABC produces, ABC's on the hook, right?
Mhm.
So,
What would prevent ABC from saying, go to hell? Publicly saying, go to hell. You're not going to get a damn dime out of us. I don't know, man. I just don't see Kyle having a good retort on this. I think you're right. I just don't see him having good claims here. He has no claim against LeBron James. I
Mhm.
saw the tweet that LeBron sent out. He was, making fun of Kyle for crying, whatever, man. I'm sorry, that's not actionable. I think that you have to go after something where, again, as you say, it's clearly false, and you knew it was false when you said it.
right. And you acted with actual malice.
Well, here's an example that you might want to ponder, and I think you know about it. The Sentinel Journal, which I'm sure you're not exactly friends with, they made a claim on their fax deal. It was like, FAQ.
Mhm.
And the question was, is Kyle Rittenhouse a dropout? And they said, yes, he was not.
Mhm.
That might have some merit.
Well, again, they're going to say we made a mistake. This is what we thought, right?
Yeah. But on an FAQ, though, aren't you kind of assuming the responsibility that you are going to at least check enough to make sure that what you're printing is accurate?
Oh yeah, I mean you have a duty to. Speaking of the Milwaukee Journal, is one of the journalists there, a fake news reporter, actually started doing public records requests because I'm licensed by the state of Wisconsin. Public records requests to the state of Wisconsin, seeing if I've ever been sanctioned by the state, which I have not. And they told me, hey, just so you know, this reporter's asking for your disciplinary file, which I have none. I'm like, well, thanks for letting me know. And I'm thinking, what is this guy looking for? He's looking for dirt on me, right? Then he did a public records request to the state public defender's office because I take contract work through the state. And he asked them if I've ever been sanctioned and actually asked for how much money I was paid for the last 3 or 4 years or something to use that against me. But in that regard, so when I take contracted work through the public defender's office, I'm paid by the attorney, and the state public defender reimburses the attorney. So I'm not taking direct money from them. But the Milwaukee Journal, it's like they look for a story. They want to, they didn't like me because of what I did, so they're trying to keep looking, man. I've gotten speeding tickets, but I've never been arrested. I don't have any. People say I go after people, so I got to stay clean myself, right? So, nothing there, but yeah,
Because like it seems like DUIs is like a recreational hobby in Wisconsin.
well, your first one is not even a crime. You
Yeah.
get you get a DUI, and you can literally pay the citation, and that's it. You do lose your license. So in Wisconsin, if you are drunk and you get pulled over, you're better to blow because then it's a 6-month. If you refuse, it's a 9-month. So it's one of those states, if you're drunk, just blow, right? But yeah, it's non-criminal. So you get a first DUI, it's not considered a crime. You have not been convicted of a crime. And I think it's one of only like 2 states maybe like that. And I think it's not a felony until number 5 or 6, I think.
That was the one thing that staggered me. Because I was
Rebecca's
doing the
face.
background checks on all these people involved in the Kenosha deal, and they all have DUIs on them.
Yep.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, every so often you'll see on the news someone just gets arrested for their like 12th DUI.
and then you look at the judge that allowed this person back, and it's like, man, imagine talking to somebody whose loved one was killed by a drunk driver. I mean, to them, it's a very serious thing, and there's just some people who don't give a shit,
Well,
and
go ahead.
they're kind of like animals where you it's almost like they need a shock collar, right? Because they don't learn like normal people learn. And so when they keep getting released, they think that what they did was not so bad, right? You got to put those people in jail. Let them learn, Throw away the key.
Yeah, I remember back in the
12
day.
DUIs. I would think you
My
had
dad.
11.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, go ahead. I
No,
was
go
just
ahead,
rambling.
Kevin.
I was going to say, like Nate said, in Kenosha, it's very common to see an article. It says, so-and-so charged with a 12th DUI, 11th DUI. At what point does a judge say, okay, you're now convicted of your 10th DUI, I'm going to give you a year in jail? I mean, it doesn't make sense, and that's the problem with the justice system is these activist judges that want to give everybody an 11th chance and a 12th chance. No, we need tough judges, and that's the problem here in Kenosha is every time we find out that somebody kills somebody, or like that Vincent guy who shot up the people in the bar, he had a possession of a firearm by a felon, which in Wisconsin is supposed to be treated seriously, up to 6 years in prison. And what did the Racine progressive prosecutor Patricia Hansen do? She dismissed it. It's just, you have these progressive prosecutors, these progressive activist judges that let these guys get away with stuff, and it's just how do they learn? In some ways, you don't. It's hard to blame them for their recidivism with their criminal behavior because they're not ever held accountable, right? Just like a dog. If you let the dog crap in the yard or inside the house, and you don't take some kind of action, they're going to keep doing it.
Speaking of such, whatever happened to Gage's second DUI?
Dismissed.
Yeah.
So there was a suppression motion filed that basically said, well, yeah, he didn't use his turn signal, and yeah, he had an air freshener hanging from the mirror, but the only person at the intersection was the police officer, and you don't need to use a turn signal in front of a police officer. And the judge says, yep, you're right, dismissed.
Whoa.
So, and remember, the same thing happened with Nate's friend Zeminski. So Zeminski was driving in his car with his wife, his co-star, his adult movie co-star, and the kids were in the back, and he punched her twice because she was probably, yapping like women do, right? No, I'm just kidding. And he hit her twice in the face, and kicked her out of the car, I want to say. And so they charged him with 2 counts of domestic violence, right? And just before his trial, progressive prosecutor Patricia Hansen dismissed the domestic battery charges against him because she knew that if he had pending charges in Racine and he testified, they'd be able to ask him, do you have any current cases open right now? Yes, I do. What is it for? 2 counts of domestic battery. And the jury says, oh, really? You can beat a woman? Well, I guess you can also start fires and shoot a gun in the air. So, yeah, she tried to help him. He's going to get convicted anyways. So,
Yeah. Because Gage is a guy who could kill somebody someday through
He
this
could.
drunk driving thing.
yeah. And so
He's
now
got a problem.
he still doesn't have a criminal DUI on his record. Just as one, and that's not a case where we know scientifically beyond a doubt that he was drunk driving. They took his blood with a warrant, and his blood registered at almost 3 times the legal limit. The problem is you had a progressive, activist judge who said, "Oh, this poor guy got his arm shut off. He's a, social justice champion. I'm going to give him a break. Case dismissed." Right? That was the one where the lawyer said, "Oh, Judge, this is a unique case. Judge, this is a unique case. This is not just your average DUI that, millions every year. This is a unique case." Right away, they knew how to leverage this. And you got another BLM activist in Kenosha. His name is Raymond Roberts. So he got his second DUI while he was carrying a gun, right? So he's drunk in the car, driving, carrying a gun. And he happens to be a veteran. So in Milwaukee, they have a veterans court, right? Which I could see that for some crimes, right? If you got PTSD and you get in a fight at a bar or something. Yeah, I get it. Give him a break. They're a veteran. They've seen shit none of us want to see. But so now he's going to have this DUI and this carrying a gun while drunk just wiped off his record because he's a BLM activist. And it's just, it boggles the mind, man. This criminal justice system is, when you have these activists, liberal activists, it just goes to shit.
Because I remember, it seems like Wisconsin was like Oklahoma back in the 60s. Because, my dad had a towing service, and we used to go out and, pick up cars that had been in wrecks. And I remember the Highway Patrol at the time, I don't recall what they were called, but I think it was Highway Patrol, basically saying, yeah, he's drunk, but yeah, hey, he's an okay guy. Just let him go. You don't do that anymore. Now drunk driving is a pretty serious deal, even here in Oklahoma. But in Wisconsin, it just doesn't seem to be taken very seriously. And look, I'm all for first time offense. You've had a couple of beers at a bar. You're not really that much over the limit. Okay, I can understand some leniency there. But Gage is a serious problem. This is a guy who could kill somebody out there. He's got a drinking problem. He's an alcoholic.
Oh yeah. And when you get addicted to a substance and it causes you to do bad things, you have to get rid of that trigger, what makes you do those bad things, right? So has he ever tried to quit drinking? Who knows? But he needs to. He needs to quit drinking. But he's got his concealed carry weapons license revoked, so that's a good step. But it didn't stop him from carrying a gun in Kenosha on August 25th, did it? And that's the thing, is these liberals who want gun control and they don't want us to have a gun. Why are you dismissing a charge against a felon who's carrying a gun? Why is Mike Gravely not prosecuting Gage for carrying a concealed weapon without a permit? You think no one should have guns? Why aren't you tough on gun crimes? Well, it's the hypocrisy.
Yeah, because in the end, they just can't shed their liberal judges' cloaks, right? They just want to be lenient.
Well, and that's it. It's the triage. Well, we really want to go after gun charges, but this guy's a real social justice warrior. Okay, let it go. We really want to crack down on drunk driving, but this was a guy who got shot by a white supremacist. Let's give him a break. Unreal.
Rebecca, Nathan, what do you think? What do you guys think?
About what?
Whatever.
You know what I think? I think it's pretty great that I'm able to be on the show.
Hey, there you go. There's the kind of response I was looking for. Do you guys think we've gone on long enough?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Maybe another 5.5 minutes.
Okay, there you go.
So Nate, have you heard anything
obviously you have
about
something to say?
have you heard anything about Zeminski, Nate, or no?
I have not known.
Because you're the victim of a crime. You need to be kept in the loop.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
mean,
no one
there's-
told me anything.
Mercy's Binger's not going to charge him.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Binger
Really?
is going
Wait a
to
minute, wait a
weasel
minute, wait a
him.
minute. Go back. What are you saying?
So Nate was accosted by Zeminski going into court. You remember that?
Yeah.
And the Kenosha County detectives sent over their report to Binger, and Binger is charged with deciding if he will file any additional files against Zeminski. And I don't think he's going to do it.
Why?
You know, the only reason Binger is going to be prosecuting Zeminski is because he talked it up during the Rittenhouse trial. Oh, and I'm going to be prosecuting Zeminski to the fullest extent.
Oh,
You know, I'm not condoning his behavior, shooting the gun on the, and I'm prosecuting him. If he really wanted to hold Zeminski accountable, he would have charged him with the appropriate crime. And the appropriate crime is second-degree reckless endangerment, where you shoot a gun in the air during a riot. You show reckless disregard for human life, which is what he did. Right? When you shoot a gun off, think about a movie theater. If you shoot a gun off in the air in a movie theater, it's going to cause panic. People could get trampled. They could die, right? Shooting a gun off in the middle of a riot, that could have triggered. You know, Kyle didn't, maybe he didn't remember. He did testify that he wasn't paying attention and the gunshot really didn't. But maybe he did. Maybe he'd misremembered, right? Maybe that gunshot made him think he was about to be killed. You know, Zeminski could have that death on his hands. We don't know for sure. But he was charged with disorderly conduct. I mean, disorderly conduct for shooting a gun in the air during a riot. They charge people shooting a gun in the air on New Year's Eve or the 4th of July with more serious crimes than Zeminski, who shot a gun in the air during a riot. So Binger never really wanted to hold Zeminski accountable because remember, Zeminski's on his side. You know, Zeminski is this, social justice warrior, kind of nutbag with a violent criminal history who has not yet been convicted of a felony because he had all his felonies pled down to misdemeanors. But this is the one that's going to stick, thank God. So he'll lose his right to ever touch a gun again.
I'm sorry? About shooting the gun up in the air, but what about the arson? That seems to me like more serious.
Man, I don't know. I mean, I think they both are serious, but if they would have charged him with the crime that is typically charged for shooting a gun, not at someone. I'm talking about a warning shot type of thing. It's always charged as second-degree reckless endangerment, which is a 12-year felony. Schrader could have had the tools to put that guy away for 12 years. The arson, the obstruction, the DC, total exposure, 3.5 years. That's if Schrader maxes him out, which I would bet one of my giggleberries he will do. He'll max him out for sure. And so that guy is going to spend 3.5 years in prison for sure. And then he's going to have...
I asked you this before, but why didn't Zeminski push on Schrader and get a different judge?
I don't know. That's a good question, but I don't think it would... I would have subbed. If I was him, I would have subbed because Schrader has said publicly how much he hates the people that were rioting, looting, burning stuff, right? And Schrader, maybe he thought he had a chance at trial, but he doesn't. His girlfriend filmed him. Oh, and by the way, she just got out of jail on the 22nd, out of prison 5 days ago. So if you saw the mugshots I posted, she now looks healthy, right?
She does.
She's
She's a lot healthier.
She had that cracked out look where you could see her jaw right here. Maybe I'm not doing it right. I don't look like a girl.
No, you're not. No.
She had that cracked out look to her, and now she looks healthy, right?
She does.
She lost the purple hair. She's not going to see that. This dude lost custody of his kids. I don't know if you read that on my website. So he lost custody of his kids from another marriage. He's going to lose custody of the kids with this marriage because remember, this chick already has neglect of a child on her record. They're not going to have kids together anymore. They're going to go through the foster care program. Hopefully, they get adopted by loving family members. But I don't think this chick is going to stick around. I think she'll be filing for divorce within the next year, and I think she's going to testify against her husband. I
Really?
think she's going to say, yes, he started that shit on fire. I watched him. Here's the video of me doing it. Yes, I took that video. That's the dude you're looking for. That's my guess. And she has to. So, there's certain exemptions for spouses.
Yeah.
But this doesn't fall under that exemption because they were committing a crime together.
I thought that the general was that you can't be forced to testify against your wife or husband.
I thought that too. But yeah, that's called, what is it called? It's called, I forgot what it's called. Privilege, spousal privilege, I think. But in Wisconsin, I think it has to do with the fact that they were doing criminal shit together, right?
Oh.
And she's already pled out and did her time. So it cannot get worse for her, no matter what she says.
I see.
So if she says, yeah, I lied to the cops when they interviewed me.
It was him.
Yeah. She can't be any worse for her unless if she decides she wants to perjure herself and say, nah, that's not him lighting that trailer on fire. And Nate's going to be a key witness in that trial. He's only one of 4 witnesses. So you have Sugar Plum, purple hair. You have Photo Chad. And then I think you have 2 cops.
Yep.
So the cops, and I'm told that Zeminski cried like a little baby in his interview. So with police. So that'll be fun to watch.
Oh,
But
man, that would be. Oh man.
So I think this trial is going to be Nate's going to be called up to the stand. They're going to show him some pictures. He's going to validate them. Yes, I took this picture. They might ask him, who's this in the picture?
By the way, Nate, you're not expected
If
to
I could
answer
never
any
hear
of
that
this.
again.
I'm guessing Nate will say, I did not know who that was at the time, but sitting here today, I now know that to be Joshua Zeminski. I mean, it's there's no doubt about it. I mean, that 6'8" douchebag looking. I mean, he's got an upside down crucifix right here. He's got 2 teardrops, a teardrop. It says sin. Oh yeah, right there. So I think there was some divine intervention with Nate getting these pictures.
Well, Nate, this would be a good time. Do you have anything to announce in terms of people being able to buy your photographs or anything like that?
I am working on a project for replicas of the original photos that were used in the trial. I have the original photos back from Mark Richards. They are at a imaging place right now, getting put onto a backup for me. But I will have those original ones back very shortly, and something big should be coming from that.
Okay, I want to buy one, a really big one for my office. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let me
Well-
set aside something for me.
Well, you know what though, Johnny? We're trying to determine what the value is on something like that. Might be too rich for any of our blood, which is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping it's
same here.
But I mean, Nate will definitely get you a file where you can print it for yourself. But
I wouldn't mind buying original if it's. We're talking thousands.
I don't know.
I'm not too sure yet.
Let's not speculate.
Okay.
I'm thinking millions.
I don't
Let's
have that
make a
kind of
deal.
cash.
Let's make a deal.
I need a
Ed.
really big original for my office. Let me know how much.
If you make
And
over
if
5
If I
million,
can afford it, I'll buy it.
if you make
Definitely.
over 10 million, you have to buy me a new house. Deal? We got
Deal.
witnesses.
Deal.
Yes. We got witnesses. Verbal contract
No.
is binding in Wisconsin.
Because
Well,
I
you
haven't
could buy me
bought-
like a freaking Polly Pocket house.
I'll go out and buy a 3D printer real fast.
Yeah, no, I mean seriously, I I would be a serious purchaser of an original large print. If it's just too much for my blood, then fine. I can't do it then. But let me
Yeah.
know.
Definitely, absolutely,
Definitely.
absolutely. Yeah,
All right.
we are definitely trying to figure out a couple things with the photos, but there should be some big things coming very shortly with those.
Mhm.
And we're
Okay.
working on something with Grambo too.
Yep.
Lots of exciting things on the horizon.
Well, tell us about this.
Well, we don't know all the details for sure. We're kind of what's the word I'm looking
Tossing
for?
ideas around.
Yeah, we're tossing ideas around. But the next big thing that's going to happen is Zeminski's going to be sent to prison. That'll be fun, right? You got the civil trials coming up, or not civil trials, but the civil cases. And because Nate, I don't know if the judge approved it, but who was it? I think it was the Washington Post. They ran an article that said that Kyle was added as a defendant, which was absolutely false. The plaintiff, I think it was the Huber estate, asked
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
permission to, because you have to get permission to add a plaintiff from the judge. You can't just add people willy-nilly. And at the time that Washington Post article went out, it was absolutely false. The judge had not approved it. And I don't even know if the judge still has yet to approve it, but I'll find out. But I'm going to do a pretty big detailed article in the coming weeks about the status of all the lawsuits, and you'll be able to click and read them all and see the motions to dismiss and how they failed. And there's just it's not over. The events from August 25th are not over by a long shot. Good news is that nobody's freedom is at stake anymore. It's all going to be monetary consequences and such. We got some elections going on in Kenosha coming up, so there could be a big change in leadership from progressives to something else, so a lot of fun stuff over here.
Is Gravely going up?
Gravely is not running for re-election. He's up, unfortunately, not until 2024. So we got 2 more years of him. Speaking of Mike Gravely, I will have some very good news to announce. Maybe we'll do it together, us on YouTube, but some really, really good news. It's going to be pretty big stuff.
When do you think this will come about?
Probably in the next month or 2 at the very most. Very good stuff that I can't wait to announce, but I can't do it yet. So lots of exciting stuff coming. Me and Nate are going to the Florida Keys. I don't fly, so I can't. I'm limited.
You don't fly?
No, man, I can't do it. I got anxiety and it freaks me out. I can't do it. Can't do it.
I've never flown.
You never flown? I've flown once and it was like a bad flight. It was from Chicago to Mexico City and it was just turbulence. And I was like, I spent the whole time thinking I was going to die. I'm like, screw this. Then I had to fly back.
I can announce I also have I will be going out to Vegas this coming up week.
Las Vegas, Oklahoma. All right.
To an MMA fight on the Strip or near the Strip, and I have an opportunity to do photography at the event.
Ooh.
I got VIP backstage passes from the CEO himself, and he's given me all access to enjoy the night. And he recognized me and throughout the whole Rittenhouse trial.
I was going to ask how did you wing this, but yeah, okay.
How many passes did he give you?
He did give me 2.
There's no negotiation there whatsoever.
And I don't know if I have permission yet to identify this person, but I did also have another very gracious sponsor that paid for my hotel room for that night.
Oh, really?
and we all do know this person. So I don't know yet. I have not got confirmation back if I can release his name, but when I do, I'll definitely let everyone know who it was.
Yeah, it's total secret. John Cena.
It
Is it John Cena?
is not.
Oh, damn it. So
When
my
is this
neighbor
gonna
Rich.
happen?
Oh, go ahead.
I'm
What
sorry,
was
when
that?
is this going to happen?
March 4th.
Oh, shoot, that's like in a few days.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Damn it.
Yes.
Where do you
I'm in Vegas all the time. Not the Las Vegas, Oklahoma, but the Nevada one. But yeah, I won't be there then.
Okay.
So
Nate's
my
like,
neighbor Rich just texted me, Nate. He was talking about something an idea that we threw around once is like you should get a book published about like with like a photo book. I think that'd be pretty sweet.
See, I don't know how to do all those details. I have a lot of ideas. I just don't know how to put them together. I never was on that side of the fence before. So
Honestly, nowadays, dude, you can self-publish stuff, dude. You can I have
Amazon.
I have a friend who's a lawyer here in Kenosha, and he's written a lot of books that he's had published, and they're on Amazon. I mean, we'll do it. I'll help you out. We'll figure it out. I think that'd be cool, though.
absolutely.
And I
What would be
should
the
announce
title?
that I'm writing a book on
Oh
the
yeah,
whole Kenosha shootings myself.
Yeah, because I mean, I still even have a lot of photos that the world's never even seen. I mean, I'm talking hundreds of photos that the world's never even seen from those nights.
These are the ones that show that Kyle Rittenhouse is guilty.
he's got a picture of my bald ass. Actually,
Yeah, before I even knew him.
Oh wow.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
on my wall in my office, and it's signed by Nate DeBruin.
Okay, but at any rate, I want a very large print from you, Nathan, signed. You tell me how much money, and I'll look at it and think, can I afford this? Whatever.
Are we talking
I'm-
one with an evidence sticker or just a regular print?
Give me both.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm all spent for the night, guys. Seriously.
so-
Anybody else?
I appreciate
Rebecca, it was nice to meet you
having-
in virtual.
It was nice to meet all of you guys.
Absolutely.
I like
It was
your
nice meeting
twang.
Thank you.
I do.
Hopefully, I can meet you guys soon.
How close are you to Nashville?
Well, I'm in Georgia right now, but I'm.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Oh, yeah, I'm 4 hours from Nashville, and then 8 hours from Kenosha. Like 8
Okay.
hours. Like Nashville's 8 hours from Kenosha, but 12 hours from where I am right now.
Oh, right on.
So I do plan to come there this summer sometime soon. So
Kenosha?
yes,
Oh, cool. Make sure look us all up.
yeah, I definitely want to meet all of you
Absolutely.
guys.
Hey, Rebecca, let me know when you're going to be up there. Maybe I can, because I've been wanting to go up to Kenosha for a visit.
Yeah, I got an extra bedroom.
There you go. Save some money right there. Go and buy some prints from Nathan.
Yeah. I'll see.
All right. Hey guys, I've got nothing else to say. It's probably a good time to go ahead and call it for a night. Thanks a lot, everybody. By the way, we didn't get a chance to introduce ourselves very much. So why don't we do that before we leave? Kevin, why don't you go ahead and start us off there? Tell us about the Kenosha County Eye and everything.
Sure. So my name is Kevin Matthewson. I'm the editor of the Kenosha County Eye, kenoshacountyeye.com. Covers basically what the mainstream media, there's only one newspaper here, the Kenosha News, and I cover what they don't cover. So basically anything that's important. And I'm a private investigator. I specialize in criminal defense work. So I work for criminal defense attorneys. And I was the guy that asked for patriots to take up arms and come to Kenosha to defend our city against the rioting evil thugs. And I stand by that. I mean, come on. What if you light something on fire, you're evil and you're a thug. Evil thug. I don't know who disagrees with that. But I guess that means that I'm racist, according to some people. But that night I stood outside the entrance to my neighborhood I was the minority, actually. There's a couple of African American fellas, some Hispanic fellas, and we kind of just lounged around on lawn chairs and just made sure nobody came to mess with our families because our city was burning to the ground and our Democratic leaders did nothing to protect us. But when Donald Trump sent in the feds, everything got better.
All right, Rebecca, how about you?
Nothing special. You can just look up my name anywhere. I'm on like all social media. That's about it.
But you've had a lot of contact with Dominic, haven't you?
Yeah, I do talk to him a lot.
Cool deal.
Well, tell us something
Yeah.
interesting about yourself.
I don't know.
What are your hobbies? Do you shoot? You conceal carry?
What'd you say?
You shoot? Are you a shooter?
Not yet, but I do definitely plan to get that. I am.
Oh, let it go.
So
You wait. So what's the last thing you said?
I said I'm only 20.
So you can't buy a handgun yet.
Not yet.
Oh, you're young. Jeez.
This
Yeah.
is what you need.
I got this. Oh, I got the one with the hammer though. I like being able to pull
Oh,
it.
no, man. Look, this. I mean, when you pull this out of a purse, it doesn't snag on anything.
I don't carry a purse, Johnny.
But I do. No, I mean, this is a Smith & Wesson J-frame is a perfect gun for you, Rebecca. Hard, trigger pull, really good in self-defense. I really recommend one.
Okay.
That's a K frame or J frame? I always get them confused.
It's a J-frame. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really high quality. But the thing about that we were talking about, you'll notice there's no hammer here. It's internal. So you can pull it out of a person and it won't snag on anything. So it's a really easy gun to pull out.
It's double action only.
Yeah. So it's not going to go off. You could drop it on the floor. It's not going to go off accidentally. It's just a really good revolver for self-defense.
I like to be able to pull that hammer back so they know I'm
No. I'm not doing this. Clint Eastwood. All right, Nathan.
I'm Nathan DeBruin, photographer, photojournalist from Kenosha, Wisconsin. Recognized in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial as a witness that stood up to the prosecution. After that, I've received a lot of requests for my photos. So I did, for the first time, get those published for the world to see at photosbynated.com. And I am currently still working on achieving my dreams of being a full-time photographer and photojournalist.
Good deal.
And he's an all-around good guy.
Hey, he is.
Yeah, we all love him.
Thank you. And I
Yeah,
really
can't wait to
appreciate
get up
all
to
the support
Wisconsin to
from
meet you.
everyone. It really means a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait to get up to Wisconsin, man. I got to meet you. You're too cool. And
Definitely.
you, Kevin, too. All right. Hey, guys, enough for tonight. And I really appreciate you coming on board. And I will see you the next time around. And good luck.
Have a good night, guys.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night. Bye-bye.
Take care.